Aluu had been on edge for weeks. People were scared. The police were not doing much, so the community had formed a vigilante group. They called themselves the Greenlanders, and they didn't wait for courts or evidence. If they caught you and they suspected you of anything, they handled it their own way. So when somebody screamed thief that morning, the mob did not ask questions. They brought out sticks. They brought out petrol. 4 boys died that day, and their names were Ugonna, Lloyd, Chiadika, and Tekena. All 4 were students at the University of Port Harcourt. Ugonna and Lloyd were cousins. They rapped together, Big L and Tipsy. Chiadika was in theatre arts. Tekena had just finished his diploma and he was waiting to resume full admission. They were young, smart, the first sons of their families, and they had no record of crime or cultism. But none of that mattered that morning. It started with a man named Bright. He owed Ugonna money. So the boys decided to go and confront him in Aluu. Very early, some say around 5 a.m. They came with a cutlass, a penknife, an axe, and a toy gun. Not to rob him, but to scare him. To scare him into paying up because he had been refusing to pay back the money. Bright panicked when he saw them. He screamed, "Thief!" And in that moment, the Greenlanders jumped into action. The boys ran. The vigilantes chased. They were caught, stripped naked and tied up. But here's what many people don't know. They weren't killed right away. They were kept in one place. They tied them up and kept them in one place because the vigilantes said that they needed to wait for their chairman or elder, whatever he's called, to wake up and decide what to do with these boys. While they waited, the crowd grew bigger. The crowd grew angrier. People were shouting. People spat on them. Some laughed. They brought out their phones. They were filming these boys. Eventually, the so-called trial happened on the streets right there. No police, no lawyer, no chance. Some people shouted that the boys were cultists. Others claimed that they had weapons. Some tried to say that they were innocent, but by then the mob did not care. They were so angry with these boys. They were beaten with stones, planks, concrete slabs. One of them, maybe Tekena, kept shouting, "I'm not a thief, I am not a thief," but it didn't matter. Tekena's sister had actually heard that some boys were being lynched in Aluu. She went to check. Imagine her shock when she saw her brother in the middle of it, tied up, bloody, helpless. She couldn't stop this lynching. Someone shouted, "This one never die, you bring tire and petrol." They poured petrol on these boys. They put tires around their necks. They lit the match. All of this, all of it was recorded on mobile phones. The video went viral that same morning across the country. People across Nigeria watched 4 boys burned alive. They watched them scream, watched the flames rise. University of Port Harcourt went into mourning. The Vice-Chancellor cancelled Student Week. The school flag was flown at half-mast. Students stormed Aluu in protest. Buildings were burned to the ground. Cars were vandalized. The students rampaged and they raged through that community. Their pain was so visible. They wanted to wipe Aluu off the map that day. Governor Rotimi Amechi called the Aluu Four lynching barbaric. He ordered arrests. So the police claimed that they had actually been at the scene, but that they were chased away with stones. And that when they came back the second time, the boys were already dead. 13 people were arrested initially, including the chief of Aluu. The case dragged for years. Then in 2017, a verdict finally came. 3 men were sentenced to death. Police Sergeant Lucky Oji, who had been present and reportedly encouraged the mob, David Chinasa Obada, a vigilante, Ikechukwu Louis Amadi, also known as Kapun, he was a key figure in the Greenlanders. 4 others were acquitted. The rest had already been discharged earlier. Bright, the man who raised the alarm in the first place, he escaped. He was never arrested, never charged. Does anybody even know where Bright is right now? The case, the Aluu Four, became the most infamous jungle justice killing in Nigeria. M.I. Abaga dropped a tribute song, Ashes. People wrote essays, social media posts, documentaries were made. And then in 2023, Linda Ikeji produced a film about it, Dark October. It was released on Netflix, but the families of the victims were angry. They said that they were not consulted. Linda said she used it to raise awareness, but it sparked a serious debate because, I don't know. And here we are, over 10 years later, jungle justice hasn't stopped yet. Between 2019 and 2020 alone, over 391 Nigerians were killed by mobs, some accused of blasphemy, some stealing phones. Many never got a chance to speak. But these 4 boys, we remember their names: Ugonna, Lloyd, Chiadika, Tekena. They were not criminals. They were human beings. The country failed them. Everybody failed them that day. Let that sit with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy true crime stories, please follow me for more. My social media is in my bio. Thank you.